Hello and welcome to a special edition of Suspended Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Betholkis, and basically what I'm here to talk about is DC Universe, is it doomed? There's been a lot of stories that have been coming out, and mainly on the heels of what happened with Swamp Thing being canceled, and just kind of wanted to talk about it. And I don't think that the outlook is good right now for DC Universe. Um, if you went back and followed my Saturday stream where I was talking about TV show cancellations, and before that, the Swamp Thing cancellation as well, you saw that Swamp Thing cost $85 million. They were expecting to get back something like $43 million out of that. And remember, this is still all Greg Berlanti's productions. And if you take a look, they still haven't released how much it costs to do like an Arrow show or The Flash or something like that. But if you take a look at the cast members' costs or what they're paying the cast members, for example, Stephen Amell gets $175,000 per episode. Grant Gustinson gets somewhere around, I believe it's $125,000 an episode, something like that. So roughly, it's about $2 million, $3 million per episode. Maybe a little over $2 million per episode, and those are 23 episodes. So you figure roughly about $50 million. So $50 million is a pretty good chunk of change right there. That's a movie. That's a low budget movie, or not a low budget movie, but kind of a hedging your bets movie. That's what they cost now for like Warner Brothers and things like that. And you're probably, they're probably rolling that same amount over into these DC Universe shows as well to make ends meet, of course. So you figure about $50 million. He's still using all the same people, the same in house effects, all that kind of stuff. But now that they only have 13 episodes to work with, or in Doom Patrol's case, 15 episodes to work with, they have a bit more money to use out of that 50 million to beef up the effects, things like that. And so $85 million for Swamp Thing kind of blew the budget on theirs. I can see why it got canceled fairly early on. But going back to that $50 million per season, if you have DC Universe is cost $8 a month, right? So right now, as of January, we still don't know exactly how many subscribers they really have, but they announced in January that they had 700,000 subscribers. So if you put in $8 into 50 million, you need to have, in order to pay for that show, for that season of show, you need 6.25 million people, subscribers, really. 700,000 people are not going to cut it. So thank you. Thanks, Marks. Welcome. So 6.25 million people is what you're going to need to subscribe to your streaming service in order to pay per season of show. And that's going to be not just 1 month, but a couple of months just to kind of get into it. And 700,000 people is not going to cut it. Now, CW on the other hand actually markets, they have commercials, things like that. And you're going to say, "Oh, well, I watch it on the CW app." Again, they market it with ads and things like that. So they're paying for all of this stuff through advertisement. You don't have that on DC Universe, of course. You don't have any ads other than DC Universe ads, which they really don't have any of those either. Netflix, on the other hand, if you look at the Netflix model, they are $12 billion in debt at the moment. So they are pumping money into their shows, but they're not seeing a great return off of this either. So where are we going with this? Where are we going with these streaming services? And how are they going to survive? I don't think they are, quite frankly. You're going to have to go back to the model of either charging large amounts. So what AT&T wants to do right now, AT&T, which owns Time Warner because of the merger and everything. What's their credit score, Morks? Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know. Netflix, Mufino says, Netflix, I don't understand how they make or pay so much for content. That's a good question. I don't know how they're doing it either. I mean, they are $12 billion in debt right now. They really are. This has been, yeah, it's a huge amount of debt. Exactly. Amazon, of course, is making money because they have their own private reserve. They're printing money, if you will. So they aren't in any problems at the moment. Um, but you look at, oh, so going back to AT&T, which owns Time Warner now, they want to bundle HBO Go, Cinemax, and Time Warner content. So TV shows, movies of Time Warner stuff all together for $16 or $17 a month. That's actually not bad, considering that right now people standalone are paying $15 a month for HBO Go. Where does that leave people that subscribe to HBO, Cinemax, all that stuff through cable? Are they going to have to pay a fee? Are they going to have to pay that $16 to $17? Are they going to be grandfathered in? How is that going to work? No one knows for sure at the moment. But all of that really bodes not so well for DC Universe at this point, because all of that is showing that DC Universe can't make a profit. And remember, they've been out since September of last year, September 15th of last year. And they haven't, I don't think they've hit 1 million subscribers at the moment. I really don't. They haven't released their numbers, but I'm fairly sure they haven't hit 1 million subscribers. And they kind of shot themselves in the foot with the whole, fuck Batman thing at Comic-Con. It wasn't well received. And there was a 50-50 mix on that one completely about, Robin saying fuck Batman, and everyone was just like, really? And then Titans came out and it really wasn't that good. It was actually kind of middle of the road, if you will. Movie says, what's their subscriber count though? DC and CBS streaming are like the size of a tiny bump on Netflix. Yeah, exactly. They're very small on, and that's what's going to kill a streaming service is if you don't get subscribers. Netflix already has the subscribers. People have been subscribing for years. People were in when DVDs were king, and they were doing their DVDs through the mail, that kind of thing. Yeah, and Doom Patrol does deserve better. I agree with you, Mufinobi. But so Netflix is ahead of the game on this because they've been in it the longest, but they are also in danger because they've assumed so much debt, and they're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at the wall right now to see what sticks and see if they can make more money off of these things. And I don't know how that model is going to work. I really don't. Thanks, Mufinobi. Yeah, and that's kind of what disturbs me about DC Universe. I mean, yes, Titans first season was bad. Granted, it was bad. I know a lot of people who liked it. It's not well written. Doom Patrol was phenomenal, above above and beyond anything that should be on TV, especially on a new streaming service like this. Oh my god, Swamp Thing is actually turning out to be really good so far in the first 2 episodes, even though it's a canceled show. And I mean, they still have other things in the works, like Stargirl, the second season of Titans, the animated Harley Quinn that's coming out with Kaylee Cuoco voicing her, and it's going to be swearing and all kinds of stuff. And um, so yeah, I mean, they do have content that they are going to be pumping out, but I don't know if they're going to last beyond their first anniversary, which is coming up in September. Once that comes up, I'm pretty sure they're pulling the plug, because if I remember correctly, the Time Warner Media streaming thing, whatever it is supposed to hit in November, is what I heard was the date was somewhere around there. Don't be surprised if you hear right before that DC Universe, they're getting the plug pulled and they're going to try and grandfather in those of us that are paying for DC Universe right now into this new service. So I do wonder what the subscriber difference between HBO is through cable versus HBO Go, AT&T stuff. So many Game of Thrones fans used app-based viewing. Yeah, I don't know, to tell you the truth. I know that a lot of people just did subscribe for Game of Thrones, and then once it was done, they were gone with it. Same thing like I did with Stars and Ash versus Evil Dead. Um, Morks, don't worry, Dennis. We can always start a petition to keep it alive. Thanks, Morks. Because petitions, we always want more and more petitions. Definitely, we want more petitions for everything. And this is the thing that gets me. I warned about this a long time ago about streaming service and the proliferation of streaming services. And if you do not diversify, if you do not band together like Hulu did, and now Hulu originally was supposed to be ABC, NBC, all the big networks, and what was it? Disney and a couple other folks. They were all banding together, and they're all going to show their content in one space, which was great because then you could cut the cord and you could still watch what you wanted for a monthly fee. That was perfect. Now it's owned by Disney. Comcast is still a partner. Comcast owns NBC Universal, so NBC still has a big presence there as well. But by 2024, Disney can buy out NBC out of their shares of Hulu, and it'll be totally owned by Disney themselves. And they're also going to have another streaming service called Disney Plus, or D Plus as we like to call it. So they'll have two streaming services, not just one. So yeah, where do we go from here is what it is. And I mean, cable is looking better and better all the time now at this point. Mufinobi says, so if DC Universe dies, pulls the plug, we will just get an email saying the service ends. Other than Swamp Thing, not much for me and VB to stay. I know you have Comic Advantage. Even the comics, quite honestly, Mufinobi, are not that big of an advantage. I mean, you can get the same stuff over at Comixology. Plus, you get Dark Horse, Image, Marvel, all that kind of stuff over at Comixology. And I know they were trying to take business away from Comixology, but it's not working, quite honestly. It really is not going to work. And it's showing in their subscriber base, quite frankly. They are almost, they're past the 6-month point, and they are less than 1 million subscribers. So exactly, go big or go home. It really is. You want those double Ds. Yeah, so that's where we stand on all of this. It really sucks, but yeah, I was actually looking at all the news on this and how things. I mean, James Wan was blindsided by this as well. He didn't see it coming. He was still in production. They still had the sets up when they got word that Swamp Thing was canceled. And again, I could say he went over budget. He went way over budget, like $35 million over budget is what it looks like. And it looked like they were trying to hope that they were getting $40 million back. But someone either lied about how much money they were going to get back in taxes or misunderstood how much money they were going to get back in taxes from North Carolina. And yeah, they shot for the moon on that one and lost, which is a shame because I was hearing reports now also that they were going to have a 3-season arc and they were going to try and leverage that into a Justice League Dark movie at the end of that, which would have been awesome because they already introduced Blue Devil, or at least Blue Devil's human alter ego, in the first episode. So there you go. So it looked like they were actually doing that. Mufinobi says, oddly enough, Morks, Phoebe and I were discussing the high standards of the mosquitoes in her neighborhood. Oh, really? Yeah, you have a good quality of mosquito over there. Is that what it is? Okay, back to the streaming wars. Yeah, and this is what we're getting at right now. Is we are going to have streaming wars, is what it is. We've talked about this before. The streaming wars are real, and they are going to come. Yes, they are going to vie for your attention and your money and your pocketbook. YouTube already lost, quite frankly. They tried YouTube Premium and they said, nope, they tapped out and they said, all our original content we're going to offer now with ads for free, which is what they're making money off of anyway. What are you watching right now? You're watching YouTube. You probably saw an ad or something like that beforehand if you are watching this now as a video. Why is that? Because YouTube actually is smart. They are making money. They just made $4.7 billion off of news last year. Yes, Google did. Yes. Off of news. So there you go. I hate to say it, but it's still the old ways are still the best ways. You're doing advertisements and commercials and things like that with commercial breaks, and it still works. It still pays for what your content is, and you can still get good content out there. Now, are you going to be able to do nudity and swearing and things like that? That's the whole question. Is are you going to have people that are going to want to run their ads with that kind of content in there? I say yes, there are going to be people that are going to run their ads with that kind of content because they really don't care, or that is where their product leads people, or not leads people, I should say. Their product is okay with that kind of thing. They're not looking for children's accessories or uh, you know Depends diapers or things like that. I mean, who knows? Some people might be into that kind of stuff, the Depends diapers. So you never know. Ads are the gateway revenue of the future. Everything will be sponsored. Exactly, Movie Fanobi. It will be. Viking Bitch says, if YouTube has that much money, why can't they hire more people? They have a lot of people, Viking Bitch. They really do. It's just they don't care. That's the whole thing. That is the old ways are the best ways. The old ways are the best ways. That is the old saying. Exactly. So yeah, that's what I came in to say. I just want to pop in. It was a lot of information that was coming in all at once, and it kind of piggybacked onto all this stuff I've already been talking about, and it couldn't wait until Saturday, unfortunately. So, um, yeah. Hopefully, you guys got some information out of that. Hopefully, you found it entertaining. If you did find it entertaining, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and come on over and take a look. Come over to the dark side, if you will. No, it's not really the dark side. It really is not. But tomorrow, you can join us for Krypton. I'm going to be reviewing the first episode of season 2, where we're going to get Tiny Lobo. Tiny Lobo has been confirmed as being in the first episode. Everyone said I was mad to think that it was going to happen. I was right. Because that's right, Move Fanobi. Who am I? He says it right there, Bartholkodamus. That's right. That's gonna be a new hashtag, isn't it? I already know it. Yeah. Tiny Lobo. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Tiny Lobo, quite honestly. I want to see how evil his laugh is. Because the tiny guys usually have the really the evil laugh kind of thing. So it should be fun. No, it should be fun, really. So if you want to see what I'm going to be doing for the the upcoming week, I have a schedule up on suspendedfanimation.com. I also have that schedule up on Facebook as well, my Facebook page for Suspended Fanimation. I also have a Twitter, I also have an Instagram, and I also have a Patreon as well, but the Patreon does not have any tiers set up at the moment. I'm trying to, but I haven't set anything up. Nothing's come to mind at the moment. It will eventually, but nothing's come to mind. Thursday is iZombie. Friday is the now canceled Swamp Thing. I'm still going to continue to cover it because it's actually pretty damn good. And Saturday is Saturday Morning Blast Off. This Monday coming up is the last episode. Well, the last episode for Amazon as well of season 2 of The Tick. That guy right there. And right after that, the week after, we start with Legion. Legion season 3, the final season. Exactly. Where David has started a cult. Yeah, there we go. Tiny Lobo tears. Exactly. Muhahaha. Muhahaha. That's a Venture Brother reference for those of you out there. But Yeah, Legion. I can't wait either. Viking Bitch. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. So with that said, I'm gonna let you guys go. Like I said, I just wanted to pop in, give you a state of where DC Universe stands. Oh, and the other thing was that made me laugh about this too is that DC Universe actually, so no one has commented as to why Swamp Thing has been canceled. They won't give a reason. They say they will talk about it at a later date. This being they being Warner Brothers executives. Okay, great, thanks. DC Universe, on the other hand, says we're still making episodes, we're still making new content, so come and watch us. Which basically means that the room is burning, and they're like, everything's good, everything's great. So yeah, I don't think so, but we'll see. I give a prediction that by the end of, I'll say September. I say we'll say October. How about that? October, middle of October is probably when DC Universe will end, and we will know when Time Warner streaming, whatever that is, begins. So it sucks, but that's where we're at, unfortunately. So with that said, thank you everybody. Take a look at the video up here. Take a look at the video over here. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I will see you guys tomorrow for Krypton. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may be finding yourself in a burning room and just saying, everything's good, everything's fine. Thanks, everybody. Good night.